What's up? I hope you're doing great today. My name is Nick Tan with Agency Profits, and today we're going to be talking about how to find winning offers for your agency or SMMA clients. And this is so important because this is literally the foundation of the make or break if your client is going to get results or not. And there's a couple different strategies that I use to find winning offers for my clients and how I research and how I actually come up with different offers. And there's certain guidelines that I actually follow that I want to take you guys through. So let's jump over to my screen and go right into it. So a winning offer is really going to be the difference between a failing campaign versus a campaign that is actually successful. So if you're running ads for your clients right now, there's only so much you can do from a targeting perspective or things like that. And to be honest, most of the algorithm actually does the work. And because we typically work in a local area, we're really not doing much targeting. So most of it is going to be in the offer and framing the offer correctly and creating a really good creative. And that's how you actually get a winning campaign. So way too often, marketers are trying to come up with new targeting techniques and figure out this new, strategy, right? But if you own a social media marketing agency and you're literally just running ads for local businesses, well, none of that really is going to be that applicable for you. What's really going to be applicable is you actually, instead of putting time into trying to find like a winning strategy or some new crazy marketing targeting technique, put some time into researching and coming up with different winning offers. And that is going to be way more beneficial for your clients. Because like I said, it's literally the difference between a failing campaign versus a campaign that's actually successful. And the good thing is that you'll just know when you have a winning offer because you'll start to see the leads come in. All the leads are really great quality leads. But on top of that, a winning offer will just basically, you don't even need to have like that amazing of a creative or copy, right? If you have subpar copy and a subpar creative, but your offer is really freaking good, the offer will just perform. And that's why you see like certain companies that just toss up an ad and they absolutely crush it, right? And then you see companies who put all this time into producing this like really amazing ad, but the offer is crap, that the campaigns don't perform. So the other thing too is we want to understand that a good offer, a winning offer, does not mean it brings in just cheap leads that don't buy. Okay, cheap leads is one thing. It's very easy to get cheap leads. If I just put on an ad like, hey, if you opt in and I'll pay you $5, well, obviously people are going to opt in because they want to get paid $5. But are they going to actually buy from you? Most likely not. That's why if you ever seen ads that are like contest ads or where it's like literally like, hey, enter in your information to opt into this contest or whatever, or submit your submission for the contest, and then they expect these people to become buyers. Well, obviously they're not going to end up buying from your client because they're opting in to potentially win, a prize in a contest. That's why so many people are not good at running ads because they just don't know how to craft a really good offer. They just think optimizing for cheap leads is a good thing. And if you've seen any of my other trainings, that's why I really talk about having all the other inputs in place so that way your clients can actually have great results. And one of the main things is just ensuring that you're not just optimizing for cheap leads. If you're an agency or if you've seen other agencies optimizing for cheap leads, it's very likely that they just don't know what they're doing, right? I have done campaigns where the cost per lead is a little bit higher or even a lot higher, but the end ROI, the cost per acquisition, is significantly less because they're real buyers. And we're actually able to scale up those campaigns significantly more just because of the fact that we're bringing in the right type of client for them. So it doesn't mean that when you create a winning offer, you're just, creating something that essentially just brings in cheap leads. At the end of the day, we still want to bring in good quality leads that are actually going to buy from your customer. Anyone can actually click the buttons and launch a Facebook ad, right? You can watch a YouTube video and launch a Facebook ad. Everyone can figure that part out. It's very easy to click some buttons and do so. But learning how to frame the offer is more important, right? That's where most people don't really know how to actually frame the offer in the right way. They don't know how to write copy in the right way that supports the offer. So that's where coming up with the offer, a winning offer, is the first step. The second step is to actually frame it in the right way, so that way it's very appealing to your clients or your potential clients, for your client, right? So that's something I want to touch on, and I'm going to give you some strategies on how to frame a winning offer in the right way. But I just want you to know, like, that's what differentiates someone who's a good marketer versus not, is that they understand how to frame offers and create offers. It's not really about going into the Meta Ads live or the Meta Ads platform and just clicking on some buttons and launching an ad. Obviously, there are certain, guidelines and things like that to follow when it comes to launching ads, but for the most part, those can be figured out. What's harder to train and what's harder to, really understand is how to actually create these offers. But more than anything, understand when you need to switch up an offer, understand what to look at when it comes to a winning offer, so you can create offers forever, right? And that is a skill set in itself, which is why I'm going over this. So how do we actually find winning offers? There's a few different ways I like to, and I'll show you a couple different strategies today, where I'll actually show you how I actually find some winning offers. So the first thing is discount sites like Groupon and, any sites like that, where they essentially have businesses that are advertising discounts on their services. Those are really great businesses to go after because they're already paying Groupon a percentage. They're already losing money on that offer. So normally I'll just reach out to them and say, hey, you have a great offer, and I'll actually just run this on Facebook, and you don't even have to pay Groupon a percentage. Like, you can just literally take that same offer and run it on Facebook, and you'll get great results. And we've done this a ton of times. The other thing is just looking at your competitors in the Meta Ads library. The other thing too is just looking at traditional marketing, right? How many of you guys get flyers and, you see signs and billboards, and every so often, take a look, just start looking at them. Flyers are not cheap. They're, certain flyer drops can be like tens of thousands of dollars. I've worked with companies who literally spend tens of thousands of dollars on flyer drops, right? So if those flyer drops are actually converting, and you look at these flyers and they actually look good and they actually have a great offer, well, those are probably offers you can actually create for your clients if they're in the same niche. So start to just look at, traditional marketing, because they're probably actually working decent, and just on a different platform, like a digital platform, they'll probably perform relatively well. And then on top of that, you can just look at observations, right? Just observe your own buying patterns. That's what I like to do, because as a marketer, it's hard for me to, it's hard to get me to buy things from marketing. Typically, when I'm buying something, it's usually something I already know I'm going to buy. So when I go to the mall and I'm purchasing something, I'm in and out because I'm going there with intention. I already know what I'm going to buy. But let's say I actually go to the mall and I'm browsing around and I somehow end up in a store and buying something. Well, I want to look at what the heck actually got me there. Was it a percentage off? Was it a bonus? Or what was it that actually got me into the store and actually purchasing something from them? So start to look at that and start to understand, when you're more impulse buying and things like that, what actually got you to make those decisions right then and there. And I usually find that super interesting because it allows me to understand my own buying patterns and things like that. But on another note, it also just kind of it allows you to really understand, as a marketer, you're going to be the hardest person to convince to buy something through marketing, right? So you just start to see these things where in patterns that get you to buy, and those are probably going to be the things that make the average consumer really tick. So those are just things to keep in mind in how we find winning offers. So these things I'll allow you to kind of look at on your own time, traditional marketing, and just observing, your own buying patterns. But I'll show you some examples on Groupon and the Meta Ads library, for example, right? So we can start to look at those. So if you come to Groupon, just kind of search wherever you are, And then you can start to search certain industries in that you're actually working in. So for example, right? And keep in mind, not all industries are going to be on Groupon, right? But there are going to be some industries, like roofing generally is never on here. But let's see, let's just do a search just to see if there actually is anything for roofing. Yeah, no. Like a roofing company is typically never going to be on here. But for example, we've worked with HVAC businesses that we found some offers on Groupon before, and that has worked incredibly well. But this works really well for like, dentists or chiropractors or, industries like that. If you're in those, they generally are on like something like Groupon. But yeah, I mean, look, HVAC, there's a ton on here. And HVAC companies, they're obviously not making their money on these lower ticket offers. What they're really trying to do is just get people into their ecosystem so that way they can upsell them. But like, look at some of these offers. It's just insane, right? They're, like $18, 81% off HVAC cleaning at JD Air and Heating for $18, which is insane. Now, the reason why I really like to look at offers on Groupon and just kind of like understand them is because it gives you an indication of who's buying, right? So you can see here, let's look at this one, for example. This is a really cool offer because over 1,000 people have bought. Like this is verified, right? So over 1,000 people have bought, but not only that, it's a 4.4 star rating on 532 Groupon ratings. And these are all 100% verified reviews. So this means that not only did they buy, but they came back and gave it essentially like a 4.5 star rating. You can see that 80% of these are 5-star reviews, which is fantastic, right? And it means that this offer is hitting. 1,000 people wouldn't buy this unless the offer was fantastic. And this company's already doing this. So it's like, you could easily reach out to this company for one, but then let's say you're working with, another company who's in HVAC. Well, you could just show them this offer and say, hey, they're paying a percentage of Groupon. So they're obviously losing money on this. Let's just run this on Facebook ads, create this a same or similar offer. So that way we can get in clients and then you can upsell them and move them into, different higher tier packages or things like that. So a lot of the times, with these types of businesses, they're just getting people into their ecosystem, right? Which is fantastic. But I've ran these offers before and they were actually profitable, right? Which is crazy. They were actually profitable. They were getting such low cost per lead and such high quality cost per lead that when they got them on the phone for one of these services, yeah, some of them just wanted, the $37 or whatever, but the other certain percentage of them wanted a bigger ticket item or a bigger ticket service, one of their more premium or higher tier services, or maybe they want to, actually, get a full on install that costs thousands of dollars, for example. So then it becomes a super profitable campaign. But that is how I look for, different offers on Groupon. The other thing too is when you look at Groupon as well, you can go into categories. And also, just because they're not in the same, you can just kind of see like, well, what type of offers are kind of working? Like this one is like crazy, 10,000 ratings. So obviously many people have bought that. So you can just kind of model a little bit off of that and things like that. And then what you can do is start to look at categories, look at local, and start to look at the different industries that they offer. So for example, home services, that's a big industry that I work in. I want to look at like all the home service offers there are. What kind of offers can I model off of? Is there even any potential clients I might be able to work with because they have a winning offer here? That's the best too, is when you find a winning offer and then you can literally just reach out to them because they already have a winning offer and you can just work with them. Much easier to work with a company who already has a proven winning offer, right? But there's a ton, like window cleaning. Yeah, plenty, right? So the other thing too that I also saw is automotive. This is a great industry as well. I have some agencies that I work with. They're working in this space, and this is how we help them find certain offers, front-end offers that work incredibly well. You can see here, this is fantastic. 12,000 or 1,020, 1,200 ratings at 4.6 stars. So the point is that there's a ton of different offers you can search up. This is obviously just one website. Find a site that works well for your particular industry. All right, so the next thing that I want to look at is the meta ads library. Okay, so we'll look at the meta ads library and see why, and see what the competitors are doing. So let's jump in here, put in your country, and then let's actually look for, let's say roofing. Let's look at some roofing ads. So what I like to do is I don't really like to look at like the new ads, right? The ones that have only been live for a couple of days. The reason why is because I don't know if they're profitable. Whereas if I'm looking at ads that are been running for a couple months, let's say, well, you don't spend money on a campaign for that long unless it's profitable, right? So I like to look at ads that have been running for, 2 to 3 months. Now, on the other hand, I also don't want to look at campaigns where they're like a year old, because sometimes those are just like retargeting campaigns that they're just letting run for, they don't really care about the ROIs because it's at a low spend. So I typically look for, things that have been running for a couple of months. Obviously, a lot of roofing companies have launched ads recently, but the point is that you want to scroll back until you get to, a couple of months. Now, for the sake of time and not just wasting your time scrolling, let's just look at some of these, because essentially what I want to look for is the ads that have been running for 2 to 3 months and looking at what type of offer are they actually running. So for example, this company is doing one of these where it's like saying $399 for a roof. So that's like a value-based offer, which is interesting. So I'm not sure if that's actually converting or not. Right, so you can see here, $1,000 off your roof installation. I mean, there are a ton of things you can model off of, right? New roof from $5,995. You can even see like how crappy some of these ads are. Like these are your, like if you're, for me, right, I'm looking at this and being like, we create much better ads, but this one seems decent, $199 per month. So it's like a financing type of offer. $8,500 for a roof. Roofs are usually like $15K. So you can start to look at what your competitors are doing, and then see like if that's something you want to model off of, or at the very least test, right? It doesn't hurt to at least do a little bit of testing and things like that. So that way you can basically see if it's a winning offer. Now, I'm not saying to essentially go in and just rip your competitors off. I'm saying to see what's working, right? And see if, if they've been running some of these ads, and you can model and use it as inspiration. Okay. So let's hop back in here. Now, once you have a winning offer, right, you want to position it in the right way. So I want to give you a couple tips before we end this video off on how I create or not only create offers, but more than anything, position it in the right way. So what I like to do are these 5 things. I like to create urgency. I want to have it value-based. I typically want to frame it with a holiday. I want to have group mentality, and I'll explain what that is, and some bonuses. Okay, so for example, let's say the offer, is roofing. So for us, we usually do like a dollar amount off, right? And then I'll show you how to frame it. So let's say the roofing is $1,500 off. So how I want to frame this offer is that, let's say, so right now it's May 18th. So let's say before the end of this month, one sec here. All right, so before the end of this month, I'm offering $1,500 off any roof replacement you get. So normally a lot of people do like 20% off or something like that, but it's like at the end of the day, if 20% off, like, something like, if you don't have a baseline to go off of, it doesn't really make people tick. Usually if you're going to do like 20% off, add like a value to it, like something like, $1,000 value, that type of thing. So that's one of the ways we kind of frame the offer, is because typically people just see like a dollar amount and they can equate that. They don't have to do any math, and they can just equate that to instant savings. So you can see here, that's one of like the things we do to make it a winning offer. The other thing too, if you want to create urgency, and this is not my favorite thing to do because a lot of people will see through it, unless you're actually doing this, where it's like, we're only doing this for 10 people, right? So for example, it's like, we're doing this for 10 people, so you can do that if you want. But for me, I like to just kind of do like end of the month or something like that. The other thing too you can do is holidays. Like if you live in North America, there's literally a new holiday every single week. So like you can frame it as a Valentine's Day special, a spring special, a summer special, Black Friday special, Christmas special, whatever it is, right? And you can literally just frame it like, the reason why we're doing this is because it's Valentine's Day, and we're doing a Valentine's Day special. Okay, and then you can just keep relaunching the ads for every new holiday. And what I also like to do with these types of offers as well is, if like there's people who actually have purchased it and there's 5-star reviews or things like that, I like to just say something like, people have been buying this, and here are some of the reviews, or here are some of like the ratings, right? Because it subconsciously says the offer is good, so people have been buying it. And people, they don't want to be the first ones to kind of test it out, type of thing. If you just kind of tell them like, people have been buying it, well, it already kind of puts in their mind like, people already have been buying this offer, so I should probably buy it too. It's almost like that group mentality. And then the other thing I like to do is just toss on some bonuses, and this is always client dependent. So for example, I really like to toss on like certain things like that are seasonal. So for example, free tickets to the football game. This works really well with my roofers because, like, they don't get like super expensive tickets or anything like that. But if someone's buying a $10,000 or $15,000 roof, they can toss a little bit of money to getting them, some tickets to the football game. We've done free TVs before, or AirPods, or things like that, where it's just a bonus. Now, not every client is going to be okay doing that, so this is very client dependent. If you can get something like that set up, it makes a huge difference. It just kind of frames the offer in a slightly different way and makes it a lot more unique. Like even you just saw me scrolling through the ads library there, and a lot of the offers are very similar and kind of look the same. So this is the easiest way to just kind of differentiate yourself. So that's how I find winning offers. And those are my tips on how to position your offer for your clients so they can see success in their campaigns. So other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's training and YouTube video. I hope it brought a lot of value to you and you can start smashing it out for your clients. So other than that, guys, I will see you very soon and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.